Welcome back to the Katy Sissine Show. Now, maybe you're still scratching your head and wondering, now what were Keynes' beliefs? As I told you, he is the founder of the invisible hand, the economic theory that the market can regulate itself, and especially on a short-term scale of time, in a time of recession or depression. So, you know, I want to show, what I want to do is share with you Keynes' beliefs, but before I do that, I want to keep it a little bit mysterious and just show you a quote by Keynes. Capitalism is the astounding belief that the most wickedest of men will do the most wickedest of things for the greatest good of everyone. Okay, we can take that away. Now, maybe he did believe that capitalism was evil, but yet also supported it. Now, of course, this would be capitalism without any political economic regulation. Now, if we regulate, as I've been stating, we can control monopolies from becoming evil. And we can control them, we can keep them balanced on that borderline between selfish and selfless. We can keep them selfish, we can keep them gaining, but we can also keep their employers gaining. With the rise of their own wealth comes the rise of their employers' wealth. And that's that trickle-down theory that Trump is working with and that Reaganomics worked with. And if you're out there saying Reaganomics didn't work, Reaganomics was a bunch of baloney, well, in his first term, in Reagan's first term, it was tough. It was tough getting through his legislation, just like it is for Trump. And it took a whole year for the economy to turn around for Reagan. But after all the setbacks, Reagan did turn it around. And the economy was booming in Reagan's second term, thanks to Reaganomics. So the trickle down has worked, people, and it will work again. Other Keynes quotes. So that picture we showed, that was Keynes acknowledging the dangers of capitalism. He acknowledges it could be bad. We don't know if he really thinks that, but he at least acknowledges it. So other Keynes quotes that I enjoyed, the difficulty lies not so much in developing new ideas as in escaping from old ones. So he is a very open-minded person as to, expanding, his beliefs in all sorts of ways. He was never stuck. He doesn't seem like the kind of person to be stuck, in his ways. He gave a very explorative review of the Fable of the Bees, which I went over in the first part of the segment, and you can check that out whenever you'd like. Another quote that I'd like to go over with him, and there's Mr. Lovely Maynard Keynes on Time magazine. Education is the inculcation of the incomprehensible into the indifferent by the incompetent. Now, this is seriously a quote about the indoctrination of the nation. I mean, this is a Katy Sissine indoctrination of the nation quote right here. Education is the inculcation of the incomprehensible into the indifferent by the incompetent. So Keynes is stating that education, the system of education, is a system of education taught by incompetent people, and they're teaching kids and students who are indifferent and who couldn't care less about what the incompetent are trying to tell them, and it's the inculcation of the incomprehensible into those indifferents by the incompetent, which obviously basically tells you that they're just pretty much churning out little robots of whatever they want, of whomever they want them to be. So, to put it in short. Anyway, let's get down to business. What were Keynes' beliefs? I guessed capitalist. So, he is, yes, largely translated as a realist and as a capitalist based off of his works and his most famous quotes. Keynes did not favor socialism, but was worried that an extreme case of capitalism could actually lead to a socialist takeover. So there's Mr. Maynard Keynes telling us that capitalism can be dangerous, thus it must be controlled. I don't understand why people think the answer to solving all of our problems is totally dissolving the system we've had in place for centuries that has kept us prosperous. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What we need to do is analyze our economic policy of capitalism and figure out which ways to mitigate monopolies becoming out of control in order to aid the trickle-down theory, in order to aid Trump's plan to give big corporations or, people that make over large income people, of giving them a tax break so that they can put more money, they can invest more money into startup companies for people, and they can invest more money into the U.S. economy, into purchases, and they can employ more people because they'll have more money to employ more people. And not only that, they'll have more money to pay their employees that they have already employed. That's why we need capitalism. And that's why we need capitalism with proper political economic regulations. Proper economic political policy, whatever you want to call it. We need better policies for capitalism. Socialism is the danger. Keynes said it himself. He is not in favor of socialism. He was actually worried that an extreme case of capitalism could actually lead to a socialist takeover, which is what we're seeing right now in the United States. That's what's going on. The socialists are trying to take over because they've seen capitalism get out of control via crony capitalism. But we cannot let that discourage us from maintaining a capitalist society. We have to maintain capitalism. We have to push for fair economic policy. And that's what we've got to do to make sure that we can share the wealth and that we can be a more perfect union and we can be a wealthier, more prosperous country because, God knows we could all be sitting very pretty right now in the United States of America because 1% of the people in this country own 50% of the wealth. So who says that making $250,000 a year is rich? Well, Obama did, and the government has. And Trump is giving tax breaks to people making that amount of money because they are quote-unquote rich. But guess what, people? In the future, we can have a more wealthy upper class, a more wealthy middle class, and a lower class that maybe resembles what we know now as a middle class. That is looking into the future. That is using capitalism to make a more perfect union. By perfecting capitalism, by perfecting our economic policies on capitalism, we create a more perfect union. And by allowing capitalism to become crony capitalism, and by becoming indifferent, and by, absorbing all this information from incompetent teachers who are told what to teach us, and these aren't incompetent human beings, but they are giving us false information, and they are misinforming us, and they are mind controlling us because of this socialist takeover that is coming to undertake the beautiful capitalist, could-be utopia called the United States. Now, I'm not going to go full-blown utopia. I'm not, picturing unicorns and, a bunch of rainbows in my head everywhere. But, it can be better, and I believe it will be better, so long as people can understand that socialism is trying to take us over. And they're trying to use crony capitalism as the excuse. And they're trying to make sure that everyone associates capitalist people with evil. And they're trying to make sure that everyone associates socialist people with good. Now, we all have to bear in mind, in the grand scheme of things, good and evil are relative terms. And now, somehow, these people behind the scenes, aka Mr. Soros, the $25 billionaire, have come from behind us and invaded us with this all-consuming rumor that socialism is good and that capitalism is bad. And this is a danger. As Keynes himself, economic genius, was worried himself that an extreme case of capitalism could lead to a socialist takeover. I will do my best as an individual to try to, research economic policy for myself. And I'm no economist. I'm not good with math. Anyway, I encourage you, if you are good with math, to research better economic policy to make our capitalist society even better than it is today, as it will be. I am, really seeing greater things for us here in the future, thanks to capitalism and thanks to new regulations upon capitalism. Please continue listening to the Katy Sissine Show, only on FYN TV at 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at KatyFYNTV and email me at katy@fetchyournews.com. Thank you so much.
It's a new year, new you at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper. Ring in the new year with huge deals on a brand new Ford. Right now, get exceptional offers like 0% financing plus a $1,500 factory rebate on a new 2017 Ford F-150 XLT. Or get 0% financing plus a $1,000 factory rebate on a new 2017 Ford Explorer. Make your resolution a reality during the New Year, New You sales event at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper, home of the Schottenkirk Customer Guarantee. Visit us online at SchottenkirkFordJasper.com.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Well, good morning, Sun lovers. This is George McClellan coming to you from FetchYourNews.com, North Georgia's only live online internet talk show. It's the first day of March, believe it or not, 2017. We are moving right along through this winter. Winter will be over any day now, but I think we have heavy rain and wind coming this afternoon, followed by cold temperatures tomorrow. And I say cold, it's not freezing by any means, but it is our example of a savage winter. We don't sell snow shovels here. You just wait and the ground melts the snow pretty fast after it falls. Anyway, if we get any snow, we've had one this year and it was not bad. But the news today is not the weather in North Georgia. The news today is the speech last night. Donald Trump. Was he presidential? Did he unify the nation? No. If you listen to all the pundits and everything he heard afterwards, he didn't. I want to share with you. We know this person, Rosie O'Donnell, used to host The View. used to hold the view. Rosie O'Donnell said, he's a very sad man and mentally ill man. And he's going down, and so will all of his administration. The charge is treason. And she's going on about a Russia connection, and there is no Russian connection. But this is the Trump derangement syndrome at its best. The Trump derangement syndrome at its best. And I want to comment. I picked up a couple of paragraphs out of an article that was written before the speech. And I want to share it with you. It was a guy, Richard Kelsey, wrote it. And he said, many of my fellow Americans have lost their minds. So damaged is our culture that party and race trump everything. No pun intended. This is the natural result of a leftist ideology obsessed with our differences and committed to de-Americanizing us into subgroups. That's what Obama did for 8 years. He went out of his way to categorize us in groups that can be controlled individually because we're separated. United we stand, divided we fall. That is absolutely applicable to diverse races of people living in one country who call themselves Americans. To be American means you've got to agree that the Constitution is the basis and the foundation of our rule of law. Simple as that. If you cannot agree that the Constitution runs everything, you might be born here, you might live here, you might be an immigrant here, but you can't call yourself, in my opinion, an American. A U.S. citizen, certainly, but not an American. People living in England are Britons, if they're from somewhere else. If people living in Scotland are Britons. Northern Ireland, they're Britons. But in England, an Englishman is an individual within the British race. Here we got them all mixed together. They come here and they love to live here and they want to live here and they want to become Americans. Distinctly different culture, distinctly different. Anyway, Kelsey continues, that twisted culture of identity politics and victimization of which the left has raised and nurtured its angry children, a lovely line, is why we cannot come together as a civil society to work collectively on common problems. In the mind of the left, they have nothing in common with us, including our country. And that means our rule of law under the Constitution. Their war on Trump, joined by political profiteers and quasi-conservatives, and that's the elite Republicans who have not come aboard, the never-Trumpers, with hurt feelings and fewer cocktail party invitations, is a war on Americans. The left is having a war, conducting a war on Americans. It is making us weaker. It is destroying the fabric of our nation. It is emboldening our international economic and political adversaries, encouraging lawlessness, and yes, probably helping terrorists and the nation states that support them. It is one thing indeed to point out how a president is wrong and why his policies will fail us and our collective good. It is quite another thing to root for the failure, work for it, and do whatever is necessary to make our country weaker, or your party, for your party, or your preferred identity. The war on Trump will never end, and he's probably right. Rosie proves that. Rosie's comments. He will see it in the courts, on our streets, on social media. He saw it in the form of a staged political protest by acting Attorney General who placed her personal morality over her ethics and her legal duties. That was Sally Gates. He will face it from China, from Russia, and a host of terror-supporting nations. He will find it in the drumbeat of a national media and in the interest groups of outed and angry conservatives. They're not conservatives if they take that position. We will see the foot soldiers of the anti-American left burning our flags, waving foreign flags, holding signs like Rape Melania, They riot to suppress speech like they did at Berkeley. Rubes on social media will repeat the dangerous lies they read or have been told to them. Like we have a ban on Muslims? No president will ever work under greater duress than will President Trump. No matter his policy, he will be wrong. Indeed, the policy to ban temporarily travel from terror states identified by the Obama administration became to the radical left a political lie that Trump selected states in which he did not do business. There wasn't a Trump Tower in any of those states. Well, that was a damn lie. There aren't Trump Towers in those states. That's not what I'm saying is the lie. The lie is he didn't select him, Obama did. And he selected him, Obama, for the same reason. He picked him. Some leftists claim it was a Muslim ban and then scolded him for not including allies like Egypt or Saudi Arabia. Had Trump included other states and those identified by the Obama administration as a terrorist threat, Trump haters would have screamed, well, Trump is even banning Muslims from our allies. And we know that to be true. That's propaganda. We see it. Trump will never get the benefit of the doubt in any action he takes, and the war on him continues unabated. On the other hand, commenting about the speech, Andrew Sullivan, who writes prolifically and is an admitted never-Trumper, has told us that in an article that he indeed accepts that Trump is the president. He enjoyed the speech that he saw on television last night. We all did. But he said something that was very, very insightful, and I kind of agree with it. He said that speech was boring. And I kind of agree with him when you look, it's just a political speech. I did this, and now this needs to be done, and we want to do that. That was basically politically boring. But his point is, one of the great achievements, he says, and I'm going to quote him, of a free society in a stable democracy is that many people, for much of the time, don't need to think about politics all the time. They don't even need to think about politics at all. The president of a free country may dominate the news cycles in many ways, but he is not omnipresent. And because we live under the rule of law, we can afford to turn the news off from time to time, according to Andrew Sullivan. Of course he's right. But we saw Obama every bloody day making a speech on television, burning his carbon footprint, flying that massive 747 airplane from one city to the next across the world, making speeches. And then we've seen, and happily, some of these revealed Obama's weaknesses. One, we assume he's just a wonderful speech maker and thinks on his feet and delivers these rhetorically correct speeches about this, that, and his plan, and makes him sound like we're guilty if we don't accept it. But when he did not have a monitor feeding him his speech, he couldn't think at all. He babbled and repeated himself so many times that he was actually lost on the stage, and that was a revealing thing to me. That was. Final comment on Sullivan. He added, a free society means being free of those who rule over you, to do the things you care about, your passions, your pastimes, your loves, to exult in that blessed space where politics doesn't intervene. In that sense, it seems to me we already live in a country with markedly less freedom than we did even a month ago. It's less like living in a democracy than being a child trapped in a house where there is an abusive and unpredictable father who will brook no reason, respect no counterargument, admit no error, and always, always up the ante until catastrophe inevitably strikes. So that's his opinion of Trump. He's accepted Trump as the president. He's not going to get in the way. He said that people who go out of their way to thwart the president and his plans, they're really not Americans in regard that they think we ought to accept them. President Trump asked Republicans and Democrats alike, if you watch that boring speech, to set aside their differences and collaborate on policy challenges from health care to immigration. And then when he brought up his VOICE program, the Victims Against Violence, the Democrats actually groaned. Why did they groan? Because they know there's nothing they can do about it. I'm pretty sure that's why they groan. There's nothing they can do about it. And yeah, we have victims out here who are being murdered, parents with murdered children, or children with murdered parents by illegal immigrants in this country who have no compunction at all about stuffing your money in their pockets and doing it at the point of a gun. And that's what Trump was talking about. Trump challenges lawmakers who oppose his immigration crackdown. Yes, he does. And they're going to oppose it until they see the light. But the light is that he's unloosed the Border Patrol and the ICE agents, and they're not going to do what Obama had them do with his executive orders, which was nothing, catch and release. They're rounding them up, and the exodus back to Mexico is in fact starting. The people are self-deporting. A lot of people are self-deporting. Trump, I think, actually believes that the Dreamers, those Mexican children, Latino children who came to America as babies or infants or were born here to illegal immigrants, probably can have a claim on citizenship, but not just giving it to them. The claim on citizenship is they've got to learn English. They got to speak English primarily, first and foremost. They've got to understand the Constitution. And you want to give them an easy out when they become teenagers, offer them a position in the military. Let them sign up for a military job. They get out of that, okay. We'll stamp your citizenship documents, and you are an American and have a passport. Parents, no, parents have got to go back. They're illegal. We got a rule of law, and that's what Donald Trump is trying to tell us. The media, according to this article, applauded Trump's first joint session speech. Nobody called it the State of the Nation, because if they had expected the State of the Nation, and he did it subliminally anyway, but if they'd called it the State of the Nation, Trump would have stood up there and told them how bad it really was. Obama's last quarter of his last year in office was less than 3% GDP. It was 2-something GDP. No nation can survive on a GDP that low. It's just not going to happen. And already stock markets are rising, which brings us to another point. Why is our stock market rising? Because the collapse is coming in Europe, and people are getting their money out of the euro and putting it into our stocks, our bonds, our property. Even the Chinese are buying property in America. The Japanese did it 20, 25 years ago, and let them buy it. They'll pay taxes on it, they'll own it, but they can't carry it away. And if they go into default, it goes back to the bank or whoever loaned them the money. They have their own money. But that's just the way it is. That's the way commerce is. And the Chinese, whether they like to admit it or not, the Chinese are in fact capitalists. And they'll never put that capitalism back into Pandora's box. The government might call itself communist, but the country isn't. The country isn't. They're making money, and they're becoming little oligarchs within their own little sphere. Some of them get executed for it because the Chinese still have an idea of how people should, even party members at high ranks should not be crooks. So there we are on that issue. Do you remember before we go to our break here in a minute, the wife of the Navy chief who was killed in the Yemen attack, the press would tell us, the left would tell us that was Trump's first attack, his first ordered attack, and that it was a disaster because one man was killed and 3 or 4 were injured. And Trump says, and the administration says, I say, it was not a disaster. It was a total success because we got tons and tons of material. I read something today where somebody not involved said, well, the material that they seized was valueless. Don't you believe it? That's fake news. That was great material, and that'll go a long ways to helping us in Trump's war on radical Islamic terrorism. He's broken the politically correct aura of terrorism. It is radical Islam. It is Islam. And you can take the word radical out of it, because if you're Islam, you read that book, it tells you what to do regardless of your personal attitude about it. But let me end this segment with this point. The raid on Normandy was a total success. The raid on Okinawa was a total success. The raid on Iwo Jima was a total success. The raid on Guam was a total success. People were killed. That's what happens in war. It's time for a few words from our sponsors. We'll see you on the other side. This is George McClellan coming to you from FetcherNews.com. Catch you on the other side.
It's a new year. New you at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper. Ring in the new year with huge deals on a brand new Ford. Right now, get exceptional offers like 0% financing plus a $1,500 factory rebate on a new 2017 Ford F-150 XLT. Or get 0% financing plus a $1,000 factory rebate on a new 2017 Ford Explorer. Make your resolution a reality during the New Year, New You sales event at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper, home of the Schottenkirk Customer Guarantee. Visit us online at SchottenkirkFordJasper.com.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
El Rey and Elijah.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Elijah.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
At Days Chevrolet in Jasper, we make everything better. It all starts with a huge new Chevy selection. Then we heap on the discounts to make sure your Chevy price is the lowest you'll find anywhere. And if you like great customer service, you'll love it at Days. Bigger selection, lower prices, easy financing, and great customer service. Your better day is just ahead at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Well, welcome back, fun lovers. George McClellan here, coming to you from FetcherNews.com, North Georgia's only live online internet show. We are in Ellijay in Gilmer County, Georgia, up in the North Georgia mountains. Our phone number here, if you want to say something or contact us, is 706-889-9700. My own phone is 706-889-9700. 5825 if you want to say something, or you can write a message to George at FetcherNews.com. I ended the last session talking about other people's, how they looked at Trump's speech. One fellow said it was boring. He was looking for boring. He got boring. And I kind of agree with him. It was not a great speech. It was a great speech. The GOP praised it as a home run. And it was exciting. I think probably more people watched that speech than watched the Super Bowl. But we'll see what happens. There were people who didn't like it. For example, the teachers' unions had a meltdown when he talked about the voucher. The voucher's coming. Our schools are not putting out educated children anymore. They're putting out propagandized children. And propagandize to the leftist point of view. We cannot have that. That's one of the major things that has to stop. It has to stop. The teachers' unions, the teachers' unions produce nothing. Why should they unionize and pay money to people who produce nothing? Why isn't it for the children? Well, I'll tell you why it's not for the children. The children don't pay dues. The parents pay taxes. In this county, 78%, 74%, I think it is, of our property tax money goes to the school. Now, right now, our school is producing people who can read and write. And they can sing and dance and play musical instruments and play football and sports. But there's a lot of things. You talk to these kids on the street or working in a shop, and you ask them, who's your congressman? They haven't a clue. Who's your state senator? They haven't a clue. Who's the governor of Georgia? They have no idea. Shocking. It's absolutely shocking. I remember when I was in school, we had a current events, and we were to bring something we thought was important. I think it was one day a week, cut out of a newspaper, pinned it on the bulletin board, and then the teacher would discuss that with all the students, and we would go through all of them as a current event. And boy, did our education soar. And in those days, our newspapers weren't fake news. We knew about, I remember reading about I was first grade, I think, reading about the invasion of Okinawa. And I was keenly aware of Tarawa and Guam and Saipan, those three battles, because my uncle was there. My dad's brother was there as a Marine. I had a great interest in that. Anything that came up with those sites on it, and I could cut out, I would cut out. Of course, we didn't know all the details because assaults in advance, attacks in advance were secret and not dispersed to the enemy and to the public, but after the fact they were put out there. We watched communication grow. The war ended, and suddenly those of us who grew up on just radio and only saw our news at the theater and the movie theaters, we started to realize that there were things happening out there that they weren't telling us. Well, it wasn't because they were trying to lie to keep us ignorant. It was because they didn't believe the American people, the War Department didn't believe that the American people could actually take what was really out there until the movies of Tarawa, the assault on Tarawa, the news films on Tarawa showed the first mass casualty of U.S. soldiers. They were Marines on a beach. People lying there, shot up, dead, half in the water, half out of the water, half buried by sand, heads gone. These were the first films that absolutely shocked Americans. Americans had to rally. Now on our television and on our internet, YouTube, we see scenes of violence. Are we hardened to violence as we watch a Muslim cut off some guy's head with a bayonet, with a knife, slitting his throat and then going all the way through? We watch that, and are we hardened to that? Can we accept that? It's coming here. The Democrats have made it possible for that to happen here. It's already happened a couple of times. Oklahoma, you remember last year, some Muslim convert cut off his co-worker's head with a knife, screaming Allahu Akbar. I mean, it's coming. Are we prepared to defend ourselves, to defend our culture, defend our way of life? Why should teachers melt down because because Donald Trump wants vouchers so inner city children, and we're talking about black kids, and then Latinos can have a place to go where their children will be educated? We're parents of these children. You look at Ben Carson. Did anybody see Ben Carson at the speech last night? I missed that. If he was there, I missed it. I didn't see him, but because there was that long line. But anyway, these people are in meltdown because it affects them. And then you see a photograph of them holding their signs, their protest signs, and you suddenly realize that these people were the products of an education 10, 15 years ago, and they still can't read and write. And they don't know who their senator is, or the governor is, or the representative is. They are people who are basically uneducated. I remember interviewing a job applicant one time for the agency I worked for, and he was a black man, well-dressed, very smart, articulate, and had a master's degree. And I think to myself, a master's degree is probably a little overeducated for this kind of a job. This is a dirt job, an investigative job. You just didn't sit behind a desk. You were out in the field all the time, in the hull of a ship, engine rooms. I mean, you were going through dumpsters looking for stolen property had been hidden. You marching through the jungle with shotguns or rifles. I mean, this was a job that required a cop. Somebody who works at the level of a cop. I mean, you have to think and know how to do things and know how to write. But this guy, I always made it a point of asking them why they wanted to be an agent. And I also asked them why they thought they would succeed, particularly if they have a master's degree. But I wanted them to write it out. And this one guy with a master's degree, a nice black fellow, I couldn't decipher what he wrote. It was grammatically terrible. The spelling was the words were misspelled. No handwriting. Couldn't draw a style. And I asked him, how did he graduate? And he acknowledged that was poor. And I asked him how he graduated from college and wrote his papers and all that. Well, his wife did. I said, well, why don't you send her here for a job? Well, she's taking care of the children. That's the kind of people that are our leadership, particularly in the Democratic Party now. And I blame the teachers' unions for that kind of stuff. These are people who, if you the old saw, it's proven and it's correct. If you can, you do. If you can't, you teach. So maybe that's true. Jeff Sessions, the new Attorney General, he believes in enforcing the law. And there's one law out there that is the Harrison Act, followed by the Marijuana Act, which says that what these states are doing, they can't do, the ones that are approving marijuana. And I think that he struck fear into Colorado and maybe California now. And so the war on drugs will continue. But there's got to be a different solution, I think, a different solution. The Congress has to step in and change the rule so that marijuana or tetrahydrocannabinol, the drug in the marijuana is the crime. They used to make hemp, a rope out of marijuana. The marijuana plant was grown commercially. That's why it's everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere. Started as a weed, but it's everywhere. So we have a problem. We cannot continue. We cannot afford the war on drugs. It has to be changed. And main point to changing that is eliminating the avenues of drug trafficking from below the border here. The wall is just one of them. They tunnel under the walls. We know that. But we have to have some change of direction there. And I'm not sure that I could articulate that. I can articulate this. One of the EPA rules, I think, that Trump is going to eliminate is the Endangered Species Act. Not because endangered species should be protected, but because it has overrun its ability to do good for America. And it has now come to the front with the Oroville Dam. That great Oroville Dam, probably the tallest dam in America, not wide, but certainly tall. It goes through a narrow canyon. And the overflow there is falling apart for lack of repair. But now the group that protects endangered species, the Environmental Protection Agency, are trying to tell the people who protect the dams they shouldn't be protecting that dam because that will endanger the endangered species, the fish and little critters that live in the water downstream. Well, if that dam gives, everything downstream is going to be out in the ocean anyway, and food for fodder for ocean life. So I don't know. Did you watch the Democratic response? Who was that old character in the white shirt? A former governor of Kentucky. Now, why was that? Well, I tell you why. They were in a Mexican restaurant, and hardly anybody moved. I don't know if those were people behind him were cutouts on a green screen, or were something else. But bottom line, Democrats are trying to tell us that they're in Middle America. They're trying to help. And they've got a message for Middle Americans, and that's coal miners, and they don't. They've just got to put on a show, and that's a show. That's all they were able to do, put on a show. So here we go. We're post State of the Union speech. Anything from now on is Trump's. He did take some digs at Obama, and he did break the political correctness line of calling Islamic terrorism exactly what it is. We do not have to be afraid of that. One last point. The military just appointed a Muslim as the chief preacher for the U.S. military, Lieutenant Colonel, and he's a Muslim. I don't see how that can possibly help America. I do not see it. Anyway, that's the end of this segment. We'll catch you on the other side. We'll have my short take, and we'll see. And then I'll be back. Tomorrow's Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow at 10:30. So we'll see on the other side. Hang in there.
It's a new year. New you at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper. Ring in the new year with huge deals on a brand new Ford. Right now, get exceptional offers like 0% financing plus a $1,500 factory rebate on a new 2017 Ford F-150 XLT. Or get 0% financing plus a $1,000 factory rebate on a new 2017 Ford Explorer. Make your resolution a reality during the New Year, New You sales event at Schottenkirk Ford Jasper, home of the Schottenkirk Customer Guarantee. Visit us online at SchottenkirkFordJasper.com.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
At Days Chevrolet in Jasper, we make everything better. It all starts with a huge new Chevy selection. Then we heap on the discounts to make sure your Chevy price is the lowest you'll find anywhere. And if you like great customer service, you'll love it at Days. Bigger selection, lower prices, easy financing, and great customer service. Your better day is just ahead at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Well, welcome back. This is George McClellan coming to you again from FetchYourNews.com, FYNTV.com, if you just want to go there on Google. This is North Georgia's only live online internet show. Coming to you from LJ, Georgia, right here in the North Georgia mountains. It's a beautiful day. We've been talking about a myriad of things. We heard Trump's speech last night. Pretty much fell in with what I said he was going to do and what other people thought he might do. We watched the reaction of the guests in the show, and okay, so pretty much. Right now, I'm going to give some starch to the backbone of Republicans, and I call this essay "Stand Your Ground." Stand your ground. Michael Moore, Hollywood filmmaker and the human personification of Jabba the Hutt, relishes over the left's campaign against Republican town hall meetings, wanting to compare their anti-Trump rants to Tea Party meetings. Moore opines that what's happening now, quote, makes the Tea Party look like preschool. Oh, au contraire, monsieur, the Tea Party, the difference between the Tea Parties and what he's trying to do lies in the results. The result is we won, and we won fairly. That's his opinion, of course. For what it's worth, I reckon a better comparison would be that the Tea Party's grassroots organizational successes and political achievements makes the left's anti-Trump town halls look like protests in Mexican prisons. The business will run out of steam so long as the Republicans stand their ground and do not relinquish either their stage or their microphone to some screaming fat woman getting up there trying to snatch it away. The media is pushing the anti-Trump narrative, but as Trump has said, nobody believes him anymore. He's right. Viewers are getting weary of the left's hysterical attempt to discredit conservatives generally and Trump specifically. Conservatives, especially as organized Tea Parties, have been issued an early warning about complacency. We want it all. We laid it in the hands of the Republican Party, and we hoped they knew what to do with it. I'm not at all sanguine that they really understand the victory that we gave them. Donald Trump, not a Republican by their definition, is our personification of Obi-Wan Kenobi, to use the Star Wars metaphor. And the old Republican Party, what's left of them, are still lurking in their Death Star, puzzled about what to do. They can resist the inevitable, but they can't reverse it. Confused, they cannot go back and repackage their former message and expect the base to accept it, or their candidates and expect the base to accept them. No more Jeb Bushes, no more Romneys, no more McCains. All they are left with is dragging their heels, leaving the always ready left to take advantage of the lull, to step in and clog up the gears. It's our game now, and Trump is the president. That's it. The Tea Parties cannot afford for 1 minute to allow Obama's paid leftist agitators to go unchallenged. The revitalizing attempts by demoralized local candidates, local Democrats, to change their message should be challenged too at every turn. Op-eds, letters to the editors, Twitter comments, public meetings, Facebook entries, all are ours to use or lose. Let's use them because the left's message is a rotten one, and it is our responsibility to help it decay. We want it all, and now we must demand that our representatives and our senators stand their ground. We can no longer trust somebody else to take the reins and push the conservative agenda. We all must put our shoulders to the wheel and push back. I'm going to read you a quote. There is a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part, and you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus. And you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all. That was a part of a speech given in 1965 at the University of California, Berkeley, by a fellow named Mario Savio, a bartender student. So we have arrived at that very point Mario Savio envisioned in Berkeley in 1965. It cannot be considered for a moment that the progressive Democrats should snatch our victories away from us by threats, intimidation, and riot. Theirs is a failed philosophy, tried and failed again and again. It's time to renew and strengthen what we already knows what works. Participating in government, freedom of choice, freedom of speech, religion, freedom from perversion and perverts, and criminal predators here illegally. We must stand our ground, and we must insist our representatives stand and deliver. They must be reminded that they are vulnerable too and must do the job we sent them there to do, or they're gone. Remember, freedom is the goal and the Constitution is the way. I ran across an interesting little piece I want to share with you. It's called The 10 Rights Americans Do Not Have. We are the sensible people of the United States, and in an attempt to help everyone get along, restore some semblance of justice, avoid more riots, keep our nation safe, promote positive behavior, secure the blessings of debt-free liberty to ourselves and our great-great-great-great-grandchildren, hereby try one more time to ordain and establish some common sense guidelines for the terminally whiny, the guilt-ridden, the delusional. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that as a whole lot of people are confused by the Bill of Rights and so are so dim they require a Bill of Non-Rights. This is it, Article 1. You do not have the right to a new car, a big screen TV, or any other form of wealth. More power to you if you can legally acquire them, but no one is guaranteeing anything to you. Article 2, you do not have the right to never be offended. This country is based on freedom, and that means freedom for everyone, not just you. You may leave the room, turn the channel, express a different opinion, but the world is full of dummies, and always will be. Article 3, you do not have the right to be free from harm. If you stick a screwdriver in your eye, learn to be more careful. Do not expect the tool manufacturer to make you and your relatives independently wealthy. Article 4, you do not have the right to free food and housing. Americans are the most charitable people to be found on earth and will gladly help anybody in need. But we are quickly growing weary of subsidizing generation after generation of professional couch potatoes who achieve nothing more than the creation of another generation of professional couch potatoes. Article 5, you do not have the right to free health care. That would be nice, but from the look of public housing, we're just not interested in public health care. Article 6, you do not have the right to physically harm other people. If you kidnap, rape, intentionally maim, or kill someone, don't be surprised if the rest of us want to see you get true justice. You do not, Article 7, you do not have the right to the possessions of others. If you rob, cheat, or coerce away the goods or services of other citizens, don't be surprised if the rest of us get together and lock you away in a place where you still won't have the right to a big screen color TV, a life of leisure, or a life of leisure. Article 8, you do not have the right to a job. All of us sure want to have a job and will gladly help you along in hard times to find a job, but do not expect to take advantage of the opportunities of education and vocational training laid out before you to make yourself a useful citizen. Article 9, you do not have the right to happiness. Being an American means that you have the right to pursue happiness, which, by the way, is a lot easier if you are unencumbered by overabundance of idiotic laws created by those who you were confused by, those of you who were confused by the Bill of Rights. On Article 10, this is an English-speaking country. We don't care where you came from. English is our language. Learn it. You do not have the right to change our country's history or its heritage. This country was founded on the belief in God, and you are given the freedom to believe in any religion, any faith, or no faith at all, with no fear of persecution. The phrase, "In God we trust," is part of our heritage and history, so get comfortable with it. If you agree, share with a friend. Anyway, that's it. We'll see you Thursday morning right here at FYN TV at 10:30. So y'all come back. This is George McClellan coming to you from FYN TV, FetchYourNews.com, right here in LJ, Georgia, Gilmer County. Thanks for watching.